You have no idea who's living next door to you. They could be the sweetest, most apple pie making, perfect people in the world, or they could be serial killers hiding deep, dark secrets. If you knew really what was going on inside the mind of the person next door, you would move house tomorrow. And today's guest on Meet the Author, Bonnie Traymore, she writes deep, dark, domestic psychological thrillers that will make you question every person that's in your neighborhood. So please welcome to the channel, Bonnie Traymore. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for having me. It's so fun to meet you face to face.
It really is. We've been chatting for a while now on electronically, but so great to put a face to a email face. So domestic thrillers, psychological thrillers are my thing. I love psychological thrillers. I like have my head being messed with. I like being blindsided. Your books do all of this and more. So first of all, why psychological thrillers with a domestic slant? Where does this come from?
So I'll take it one step further. If you want to like really feel terrified,
Yes,
not just your neighbor's house, but what about your own house?
right. Have,
My
have a look at
husband's
this
going
author,
to
this
kill
title.
me.
Isn't that the best title ever of a psychological thriller? My husband's going to kill me unless I kill him first. Like, fantastic.
And then we have this one, just in case you thought you missed out if you didn't marry rich. We've got the rich guy's wife with the blood on the diamond there. So you get the idea.
Yes.
So you said why domestic thrillers? I do think that I've grown up, watching Hitchcock movies, reading Stephen King novels.
Yeah.
Later I got into Shakespeare, which I think really Shakespeare was the first psychological thriller. I mean, think about Macbeth, psychological
Right.
thriller. That's
Yes.
all very
Yeah.
heady stuff. Um, inside your own house. I mean, a terrorist on the subway is scary, but it's not as scary as something happening within your own house. That's supposed to be
Right.
your safe space. And
Yes.
so, like many thriller authors, the very first conference that I went to, I was, taking notes at the conference and trying to learn everything that I could learn. And one of the instructors was saying, like, now, how many of you are afraid of heights? And we're all raising our hand. How many of you are afraid of sharks? How many of you afraid? And he's like, that's why you write these kind of books, because you're afraid of everything. Not everybody looks at the world that way, right? So in some ways you're purging your fears by
Yeah.
writing it, putting it into the characters. I also like the idea of like just having regular people, but then amping up the tension and something happens. So I mean, sometimes I have books that have serial killers in them, but I don't have that like serial killer point of
Mm,
view. It's
mm.
more that one thing that pushes you over the edge, like where we
Right.
all could almost have gotten there.
Yep.
We just didn't do it, but this person did it. They pushed them off the cliff or they did this, that kind of stuff. I like to explore that sort of liminal space in the mind, um,
Great.
vicariously, of course. I would never actually, no actual humans were harmed in the making of these books. But to me, the terror within the house is scarier. And I will also say that I think in the digital age, it becomes even more pronounced because
Yeah.
I have no idea what someone's looking at. I
Right.
mean, your
Right.
children, like you hear these stories about like kids in, affluent Marin County getting radicalized and going, to the Middle East, right? Like you don't know
Right.
what's
Yeah.
happening to people. Anything
Yeah.
could be happening. And so it used to be like you could see the book, you could see the newspaper, you could see what they were doing, but people could be doing anything inside your own house. And to me,
Mm-hmm.
that's just freaky, and I like to play with that tension.
And it's brilliant, and it comes through in the book so well, and I just love them. You would remember that just lost the name of the movie. That movie from years and years and years ago, where the shock is that the call was coming from inside the house. And it was a babysitter that was being traumatized, and someone was calling
Single white female? No, no, no.
before that.
Not
No, it was before that. It was such a huge shock that the killer was upstairs calling her on the party line the whole time, and that was probably one of the first ever "don't trust who's in your house" scenarios. And so you've taken that to deeper, darker, more fantastic levels. So well, let's talk about the series. So you've got two series for now and a number of standalone books, and so series number one, which is the Hudson Valley series. So Hudson Valley is in New York State, your former home stomping ground.
Yeah, so I sort of cut my teeth in Manhattan, in the business world, and did my share of dating. That's kind of where this rich guy's wife came from, because
Okay.
if you're not filthy rich in Manhattan, you're poor.
Right.
And so um, Westchester is north of the city. That's where my family lived.
Mhm,
When I moved out to Hawaii a long time ago, but I'd go back a lot because I have family there and I was from that area. So
mhm.
it just, and also I like the whole idea of like Sleepy Hollow and Tarrytown and all that old spooky stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why Killer Motives is set there, and I really lean into the whole Halloween, like the murder happens right on the eve of Halloween, and Tarrytown, the Halloween parade is a huge big deal. Even now, people come from all over the world, and it has that like spooky element. So that one has, a touch of psychic ghost. It's not really supernatural, but it has
Mm,
just touches of that to kind of like mirror the area. And so there's three books in that series: Killer Motives, Little Loose Ends, and then Killer Secrets, which is coming out in November. And
yay.
then there's a novelette that's free to download on my website.
Yes.
That's, yeah, short story that kind of like the same detective in goes that's from my series goes from New York to Honolulu to help solve a cold case that's been bothering him for
Yeah.
haunting him for decades.
And that's Dark Justice. And I love that book. And I reviewed it a couple of weeks ago on the channel. And yes, please go to Bonnie's website, sign up to the newsletter, and you get Stark Justice for free. And you'll get a taste of her fantastic writing. And like me, you'll be hooked. I promise you. So
Yeah,
then,
and I should mention I'm in Kindle Unlimited,
yay, good.
with all but one book for various reasons because it's co-authored. It can't be in there, but and then 8 of my audiobooks stream in Audible Plus.
Yep,
Um,
good.
I'm also in libraries with my ebooks. They're exclusive to Amazon and KU, but they're also in libraries. My
Mhm.
print books are wide, but my goal is to try to be like really accessible to people. So my price point's low and just kind of going for the volume, and that
Yeah,
seems
yeah.
to be working. I don't. It's expensive to go out and buy a $30 book or a
Right,
$30,
right.
audio book. So
Yeah,
I want people to be able to get my books and stream them as part of their service. But as much as I can, I try to keep the price reasonable so people can binge read because we all
yay.
of us, I love reading these books too and listening, and I want to do a lot of it.
Yeah, great. And as I mentioned on a Indie Insight a couple of weeks ago, KU, for people who don't know, the author gets paid for every page that you read. So go ahead and get a KU membership. It's very cheap, and you can get unlimited books to read, and the author gets paid as you're reading them. So please support authors this way. All right, so let's now talk about the Silicon Valley series. So that's a different destination. You also lived in Silicon Valley.
Yeah. Do you want me to? This is the Killer Motors. That's the
All
lead
right.
one in
Um,
Hudson Valley. You can see it's got
yep.
that sort of spooky feel. And then Silicon Valley is a little more like bright, kind of shiny object, kind of like
Hmm.
Valley is.
It's like the
So
people next door. Yeah.
yeah. And then so the Step Family is about the tagline is Laura's life is going great until someone starts trying to kill her. And she
Great.
doesn't know she doesn't know if it's someone at home or someone at work. Uh the ex-wife died mysteriously before her.
Hmm.
It's the Step Family. So yeah, it's always fun to play with those step family dynamics.
It
I'm
is.
in the family, so my husband and I, second marriage with 2 kids, and so yes, that was fun.
So this whole step family thing without the killings and the people dying.
We all got along. We were boring. I mean, I have to say, there's nothing too exciting in my real life. That's why I have to write these stories.
Well, you do them really well. So they're definitely coming from somewhere. And so they've got the two series, and then you've got a whole lot of standalone books, including the My Husband Is Going to Kill Me coming out later this year. The
Yeah,
Rich Guy's
that
Wife,
one-
which you've mentioned. Um, there's just there's
there's a
really
lot.
there is, yeah. So do you have a favorite? Are you allowed, like, I know parents aren't allowed to have favorite children, but do you kind of have a favorite book that like you keep going back to?
You know, I it depends on my mood. Like
Yeah.
sometimes because I do like on my website, I do, clearly state which ones are the darker ones, which ones are the lighter ones. Like I've got this one, the valet that I've set in Honolulu, because I was kind of chicken to set it in my own town. Because I feel like if you set it somewhere else, people aren't going to think, is that mean boss about me?
Right, right, yeah, yeah.
So the valet has some dark humor in it. And that was the first one. Like I really tried to lean into the dark humor, and I was so glad that people like said it was witty. So it just depends on my mood.
Yeah.
But they all have certain consistencies. Like they're not too graphic. Um, I do use swear words. I mean, I
Yeah.
know there's
Fine.
some
Yeah.
that like, I wouldn't say, yeah, have your young adult read it. No, I mean, it's not written for that. That's up to the parents' discretion. My old school has some of them in their library where I used to teach, but that's not my market.
Hmm.
They do have adult level romance scenes and adult level situations. So not overly graphic, but sometimes disturbing. Like I've got two that have, suicidal ideation and that sort of thing, but they're thrillers. So
That's it. They're psychological thrillers. They're going to get inside your head, and that's why we love them because
that's the
that's what they
job.
do. Yes. So you've got three books coming out in the next 6 months. So there's My Husband Is Going to Kill Me Unless I Kill Him First, which is September.
September 22nd. Yep.
Okay, and then we've got number three in the Hudson Valley series, Killer
Killer Secrets.
Secrets, which is coming out in.
So, uh, uh, November 17th. I can't even remember.
Okay,
November 17th.
and I've been privileged to read another standalone book of yours that's coming out early next year.
Yeah, that one's
So
kind of still a secret, but
yeah,
you'll
so I'm
you'll
not
just have
saying
to
any more
scoop
about it,
everybody on that.
but I got a sneak preview at this book, and wow, when this one comes out, we'll get Bonnie back and we'll talk about this book because this book is it's like a 40-50 year history in this book, longer, yeah, and
Yeah, 2
it's
years.
yeah, it's got some really, really scary elements in it as well. So that's all we're going to say about that one. That's a big teaser, and we'll talk about that one again next year.
Well, I called it Final Girls meets Bridges of Madison County. So do with that what you will.
Yep, and it does all of that. So that's really great. So all right, so you've got a lot of books to read, my audience, to get in to fall in love with Bonnie Traymore. I know it's a hard question to answer, but if someone says to you, "Where do I start?" What do you suggest?
I think The Rich Guy's Wife is a good entry point. It's one of my more popular ones. It's a real page turner. It's not too graphic.
Hmm.
And then, you can look at my website. I have little, kind of, but The Rich Guy's Wife seems to be very popular with pretty much everybody. If you like a lighter one or a darker one, it's got elements of both. It's not too far either way. And
Great.
it's in Prime reading this month, so you can do it until I think till the end of August. It's in Prime, so
Oh,
Prime you can
perfect.
get the ebook for free.
Great. And then
And
Start Justice, of course. Someone
Dark
can just
Justice,
go
yeah, that
straight
one
to
you
your
can.
website and grab Start Justice. Yeah. So awesome. So, well, thank you so much for coming to the channel. Thank you for your time. Lovely to meet you after getting so involved in your books, which have just captivated me. And so I'm going to, based on your recommendation, I'm going to bump Rich Guy's Wife and then The Valet up my list and
Okay.
get those read because I've got time before My Husband Is Going to Kill Me to read those and review those before I review that one in time for release date.
Wow, you're like my number one fan. Thank you.
Can't wait to get
Oh my
get more of
God.
Bonnie Traymore's writing into me. I read it because it's just so wonderful. So much for coming to the channel. Absolutely lovely to meet you. I'm so excited to meet you today. And we'll be in touch, I'm sure, and I'll invite you back again before the secret book comes out next year.
Yay. Well, I'll say in Hawaii we say a hui ho, which means until we meet again.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.